What's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lucia. If you're not, I love you. Thank you for being here. You're amazing. You're the best. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get your pictures from this to this and from this to this. I'm gonna show you the apps that I use, different tools, what settings, absolutely everything, and we're gonna go into detail as to how I edit my Instagram photos. And now it's not just Instagram photos, now it's going to be like Lemonade photos as well, TikTok takes photos as well. Like, photos are making a comeback, because for a little bit it was all about short form videos and videos and videos and videos and videos. People were pushing videos like crazy, and I feel like they kind of left photos to the side, but they're making a comeback. They're coming back, and that makes me so extremely happy because I love me some photos. Like, I love taking photos. I love the creative aspect of photography, and don't get me wrong, I do love my video creativity as well, but photos, they just have something in my heart that make me so happy, and I'm so happy that they're back. So with all of this, let's get started, and I can show you exactly how to get that look. Pictures are back, baby. For starters, I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and I take 99% of my photos in Lens Buddy. And the first application that we're going to use is Lightroom. I use Lightroom 99% of the time. I will occasionally, depending on my mood on that day, I will occasionally use Tezza, the Tezza app, and then also Touch Retouch. Those are the only applications that I use. Now that we have the photo in Lightroom, we're going to start the editing process. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this crop button, and I'm going to straighten out. So as you can see, the picture was tilted because it wasn't perfectly aligned, and I love this because it automatically does it for you, so you don't have to move it around. If you wanted to, you could. You can move it around and make sure that it's even by like looking at the lines and stuff like that, but automatically Lightroom can detect if your picture is not straight, and it'll straighten it out for you. And I love that feature. Like, it's just so easy. Then we're going to click the check mark. Then the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to click on light. I'm going to increase the exposure by, usually I will test it out depending on the lighting situation that day, but this picture, for example, like, I'm going to be editing other things too, so I want it to be a little bit more bright when it comes to the exposure. So exposure is more or less going to be like 24 or in the 20s. Then I'm also going to increase the contrast by a little bit, probably 9 looks good. Then the highlights, I always love reducing the highlights and increasing the shadows. So okay, so for highlights, we're going to reduce the highlights a good bit. Maybe this looks good, 35 minus 35, 36. Then we're going to increase the shadows a tiny bit. We're gonna do 15. I like reducing my whites and reducing the blacks a little bit. The blacks, we just want all of the blacks in the picture to be a little bit more bold. That's why we do that with the contrast. We increase the contrast and we reduce the blacks. Occasionally, depending on the lighting situation, I might increase the whites because I want the whites to be a little bit more bright. So as you can see, I'm wearing a white top, and look at what it does to the top. So like, if I were to increase the whites on the top, you can see how much brighter the top is, but I don't want it to be that bright. Like, that's a little too much. So that's why I like reducing the whites a little bit. That was too much. A little bit, and the blacks a little bit as well. So that looks really good so far. Like, it's a subtle difference, but it already makes a good difference. And then we go into the color. So on the first screen of the color, you have the temperature, the tint, vibrance, and saturation. This is like the main outlook of the colors of the picture. Like, we're not gonna go individually to each color yet. This is just gonna be like the whole picture overall, what it looks like, the vibe that we're gonna get. And usually the vibe that I would like with my pictures is I like the yellow temperature, so the white balance, to be higher by a little bit. We're gonna do 7. And then for the tint, I never mess with the tint. I might like check it out and see if the pink looks good. Sometimes it does. Actually, I like that. So we're gonna do +5 on the pink. Then vibrance, we don't touch. And the saturation, I usually increase the saturation by like 3 or 4, maybe 5. We're gonna do 4. So far, this is what it looks like. It looks bright, it looks beautiful. I love the colors. Now we're going to go into this mix wheel color, and this is where we we play around with the colors. The only colors that I touch are red, orange, yellow, and green. For all of my photos, I created my own preset, and this is a preset that I use for all of my pictures. I have like the exact combination that I use for all of my colors. Actually, the only colors that we're going to touch are red, orange, and yellow. That's it. We don't touch anything else unless we want to enhance any of the other colors. So most of the time I like wearing a lot of pink, so a lot of the times I'm going to be using the pink color, but since I don't really have that much pink today, then we don't really need to touch it up. So first we're gonna go into the reds, and for the reds I'm going to increase the saturation by like 5, reduce the luminance a good bit, and now this is the orange. The orange is literally the most important part of the picture, because the orange is the one that makes me look tan, that makes the colors look a little bit brighter. Like it makes my skin glow. I don't really know how to explain it. This is where the big difference happens. For the oranges, we're going to reduce the luminance, and that's exactly what's going to make you get that tan on your photos. If we reduce the luminance, just look at my skin tone. Let's do -15. Look at how tan I look now. This is the before, this is the after. Now that looks a little too orange, so we're going to reduce the oranges by a tiny bit, just so that it doesn't look like too orangey, if that makes sense. So I think that should pretty much do it. And now something I've always loved doing to all of my photos is reducing the yellows by a good bit. So this is what it looked like before with the yellows, and then by reducing it, it just makes it look a little bit more clean. Then we don't mess with anything else. Then if we go to the pinks, if I was wearing anything pink and I want to mess with the pinks, then I'm going to increase the saturation. Actually, hold on, I think I actually really like that, because I do have some pink flowers, so perhaps I could mess around a little bit. So we can potentially increase the saturation on the pinks and reduce the luminance, and it'll make the pinks look brighter and darker, so you can see them a little bit more. Now lastly, we're going to go into effects. I like giving my pictures a little bit of grain. If you go on my Instagram, all of my photos have a little bit of grain. I'm starting to kind of not do as much grain anymore. I think I'm moving away from the grain a little bit, but I still love it. I still like it. For the grain, we're probably going to do like 15. We can do a little bit more. 20? Yeah, we can do 20, and then the size usually stays at 25. Sometimes I'll do like between 25 and 30, but yeah, I like that. Okay, this is good. Now, if you have any blemishes, or if you have anything on the walls that you want to fix, so for example, I'm not really this picky, but if you wanted to be, you have the option. So for example, like we have those black stains on that wall, and if I wanted to get rid of those black stains, I'm gonna go into the healing tool and touch over those spots to clean it up a little bit, if that makes sense. I wouldn't be picky, like I just posted the pictures like this with the stains on the wall. I didn't really care, but if you wanted to, you could definitely do that. Sometimes I will do that if I have too many blemishes on my face, and I will use the healing tool and click on each blemish and kind of take it out. As you can see, like I had a few blemishes that were kind of noticeable. Like I didn't do that with this picture because it's too far away for you to tell, but if it was something that's like making me less confident, and I'm not really feeling confident in my skin, and I'm just breaking out too much, then I will use the healing tool to cover up those blemishes that are not making me feel good. This is the before, and this is the after. So cute. I just love it so much. I'm gonna show you what I do on my beach photos, because I always get asked as well, primarily, how do I edit my beach photos? Okay, so I have a good example here. As you can tell, this was at sunrise, so the sun was rising from the east. In this photo, this is literally what the photo looked like before the edit, and then this is what it looks like after the edit. So you can see that the sky looks a lot more bright, a lot more color, the saturation's a lot higher on the sky specifically, not the entire picture, just the sky. So I'm literally going to show you what I do after I've edited the picture the way I like to. So this is how my picture looks like, and then to make the sky look more saturated with more color, I'm going to go into the masking tool. I'm not 100% sure if this is free. I'm pretty sure that you do need to pay for the Lightroom subscription in order for you guys to be able to do this in Lightroom, but I'm just showing you just in case nice for you to know for the future in case if you ever do want to buy the Lightroom subscription, or if it is free, I'm not entirely sure. So that's something that I gotta look into. So Lightroom gives you the option to select either the sky or the subject and edit that specifically, and I have used the select subject masking tool to edit. So sometimes if I look too dark, or if I look like, let's say for the rising photos, I could have edited myself and made myself look brighter if I was in a dark, very dark situation. But in this case, I only edited the sky. So you're gonna click select sky, and Lightroom literally just selects the entire sky for you. You don't have to do absolutely anything. Like, this is so perfect. Like, you could still edit a little bit of, if Lightroom messed up and you want to fix it, you could, but this edit looks fantastic. Like, there's nothing to fix. Even my hand, like, look at this, it was so perfect. Okay, so to get that sky looking insane, we're going to decrease the saturation a tiny bit, increase the contrast by a lot, reduce the highlights by a lot, increase the shadows by a tiny bit, and this is just what this picture needs according to what I see. But I'm trying to show you guys what my thought process is during these situations so that you know what to do next time you're editing as well. Or you could just copy exactly what I'm doing and play around with it as well, knowing those bases, knowing that you're going to get more or less that similar look with the bases that I'm giving you. And now the most important part, we're gonna go into the color, increase the temperature by a lot. Good, increase the pinks by a lot, increase the saturation by a lot. And now this is the before and this is the after. The sky looks a little bit more insane. Like, you could still see a little bit of the colors, but it wasn't that crazy. And then the after just made it look, the sky's beautiful, the sky's crazy. And then, for example, just to give you an example, I did not do this, but just to give you an example, if you want the seaweed to be gone, you could use the healing tool again and click on those little seaweed that are just on the sand. Oh, not that, and get rid of them. That's just an example of something you can do in Lightroom. And now I'm going to show you what I do on the Tezza app, because sometimes I'm like, you know what, I want to use the Tezza app. I love the Tezza app. Something very similar, but in this photo of the beach, I also use the crop tool. So if you go to crop, straighten, look how freaking amazing. Lightroom just immediately straightened the crap out of this photo, and I did not have to do anything. It just looks so perfect. It looks straight. We're going to export this photo because it's straight according to Lightroom, and we're going to bring it to the Tezza app. Import it to the Tezza app. The one thing that I do in Tezza that I've always done for years is the Cocoa filter. Not at 50. We're probably going to do 16. It's a very subtle change, but I love the color. I feel like the color looks really nice. And then I'll go into the editing settings and do something similar to what I do on the Tezza app. Editing in Lightroom and editing in the Tezza app, it's similar and different. It's similar in the sense that you do have the same settings. You have your exposure, your brightness, your contrast, your shadows, highlights, like literally everything. And then if you go to HSL, you're gonna have the colors. Like, you have very similar settings that you can use, but then the moment that you do use them, like your brightness, if you increase the brightness by like 25 in Lightroom, that's going to be the same as editing the brightness by like 10 in Tezza. And I've noticed that, like, you should only do very, very subtle changes in Tezza, because it does, one subtle change does a lot to your photo. So yeah, increase the contrast, increase the shadows, reduce the highlights, increase the saturation, and then the grain, we're going to add grain. HSL, we're going to reduce the luminance to make myself a little bit tan, but reduce the saturation because we don't want it to look too orange. We're going to reduce the red a tiny bit, the saturation, and reduce the luminance of the red. Literally the same things that I told you, and then reduce the yellows. Boom. We have our photo. It looks a tiny bit different. Not a tiny bit. It looks pretty different than the other photo that I showed you, but I love the way it looks. It just has this like setting, like that one setting, that cocoa setting, makes the picture look amazing. Tezza is just a freaking pro for creating this app, and it's just amazing. Look at that. Look at that difference before, after. It's so cute. Now we're going to export our photo. And another application that I use when Lightroom's not doing a really good job with the healing tool and I just want to be a little bit more precise with the little fixes that I'm doing, is the Touch Retouch application. And the Touch Retouch application, it's literally a pro at removing objects, removing lines, doing the clone stamp, which means that if you can put this little circle in one section and you can move around in the other section and it'll copy exactly what you have in the circle. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So the clone stamp, that's what it's called. This is a little circle that I was talking about, and then let's say I want to copy exactly this area over the seaweed, so that's literally what it's going to do. And then also if we want to remove objects, so I want to remove the seaweed right here, it removes it. It's so precise, but yeah, you get the point. This is just way more precise and faster than doing it in Lightroom. If you guys don't want to follow step by step everything that I just did in this video, then let me know in the comments below and I can do a preset for you guys, and not just this edit. I can also do several edits. I have an edit for pictures that look a little bit more vintage, and I can put that here as an example. And I have another edit for pictures that have this 90s look, and also the way I edit my pictures that I take with my Canon G7X with the flash on, that vintage look, that digital camera look. So yeah, I have several different edits that I've mastered, that I've created over the years, because I've been doing social media and like editing my pictures since 2019. I've loved this forever, and if you guys are interested in any of those, let me know and I'll create a preset. I don't have presets right now that I sell or that I give away, so if you're interested, let me know. I will just put them for sale if you guys are interested, because if you're not, there's no point in doing that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna answer everything that I can, and I hope you're having a beautiful morning, afternoon, night. If you enjoyed this video, you're gonna like all of my other videos, so please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.